Good evening, Night Owls. You are officially rocking with Love Actually here on... Shout out to our guest. Now, I would say that this brother represents brother love for me. This gentleman coming on tonight is like a brother to me. Though oddly and interestingly, I met him on Tinder.
Oh, always an interesting
interesting twist with that Tinder. See, the typical use of those dating apps, I don't know. People do a lot. That's what I'm saying. People, yeah, I know it's a house call. People order people like Chinese food. That's not what I do. I collect awesome people. Anyway, this particular gentleman, his name is ah-mah, rock star. Met him on Tinder, and I have seen him grow as an artist, and his album is out, so he's going to be talking to us about his life as a rock star.
Very exciting.
And we will be listening to his music. We're going to actually play one of his songs now before we get into the block with him. We are.
Okay.
We are.
It's going to go up to 51 on Thursday. I won't be here.
I'll be in the snow.
Every second. But it's
going
to rain.
you because you're going to Sundance?
We're talking about the weather here. So we're talking. I'm leaving here to go to single digits and snow.
You were leaving here by choice to go to
totally
snow.
By choice, and I'll be nestled in a movie theater for much of that time. But that little transit.
Yeah, but you don't get the violins. You don't get the.
Please pray for me, Argentina, and J.Cole. Please pray for my little frostbitten finger. Yes, that was ah-mah, Stay from the Woke album, and he'll be joining us this evening here in the studio. A lot of times for research, so I was going on ridiculous dates. In addition to some cool people, but I met a lot of ridiculous people. ah-mah is not one of those ridiculous people.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
On a good day. No.
Fits out of.
I feel like we went to Sunday brunch, so at that point I probably had been through 6 days and 6 dates.
It was not Sunday brunch.
It was dinner.
We went to dinner.
That's right, because my mom was in town.
You were an hour late, and you were like...
My mom was in town.
Like, I know that. I just met you.
She's a human.
Is it with you and the Aries?
Yo,
this is like the fourth show this has come up.
Because they...
And the guests you bring on are like Aries people.
You know what's funny? And I will tip my hat to ah-mah and say that he is a very evolved Aries. In that he does not have the rah-rah.
No shade to all the other Aries people.
No shade to all the other Aries people.
Any Aries isn't going to call it shade. It's just nature.
Like, Aries are mad rah-rah, and they will, like, get all hyped up, and then...
they're very courageous.
Then 10 minutes later, they want to act like they didn't just blow their whole head open. It's like, it's not all good because you said things that were unacceptable. You've done things... In that 10 minutes of you blacking out, like, you may be okay. Now we're all not okay with you.
Could this just be a tourist blind spot?
Perhaps.
No, it's real.
What I'm saying about Aries is real?
Yeah, it's real.
See? It's so funny. I have a girlfriend who I went to dinner, to cocktails with over the weekend. And she, during the course of like just common debate talk, says, I will dog walk you. And I'm like, how do we end up there?
Okay, what does that mean?
Okay, so Cardi B said, somehow Tommy Lahren said something about Cardi B. And Cardi B said, don't talk to me, I will dog walk you. Which, if you think of like in a mafia term, like if you dog walk someone, like put them on a leash and like walk them around and like sort of kick at them, it's just disrespectful. So anyway, my friend who was in Aries, in the course of just I'm like, how? And even her husband was like, "Dag, how do we end up in all the drama?" Aries are just mad drama, and as a Taurus, you know our nature is. You are the other side of ah-mah. You're the other side of Aries in a way that I can't even qualify. He actually is the one who gives Aries a good name because honestly, most of the Aries I know are just too much. And he's very chill. Almost like a Taurus.
There are people out there who are probably, if they're listening, they're like, yeah, no, he blows up.
That's good. I'm glad you reserve it for the big things because one of the biggest issues, I don't mind a turn up because I get mad. Oh my God, someone ran the light. Like, oh my gosh, we just can't have 24/7 drama. It's too much.
Well, to be fair, Kirsten, you're a lot of drama.
I mean, I think it's entertainment. It's entertainment depending on how you look at it.
Okay, you're going to call it entertainment. Yeah, it's perspective. It's perspective.
But anyway, let's talk about woke because that's really the biggest change since I met you. Beginning of Tinder. It was such a beautiful Tinder then, wasn't it? No?
Not to me, no.
That's right. ah-mah was my first friend.
You're gonna get it eventually.
I'm gonna get it eventually. But he was the first person who sort of introduced me to the dark side of Tinder, the guy side. That wasn't so happy and jolly because I was like, this is the best thing in the world. I'm dating like a grown man.
But then, so what was it like on the other side?
What was the male side?
The dark side.
Well, what did I say back then? So that you can refresh my memory, and I'll give you the exact.
I think I think that your attitude hasn't changed in all these years. So
Okay.
I would say that what you said back then is what you still say right now.
Well, I've said it so many different ways now. So I don't do it anymore. So it was like an audition almost every single minute. And it was like an audition with no reward of ever getting the gig. It was like, you don't know what the show is, you don't know what you're auditioning for. You show up, you buy into the audition, first of all, because there's a lot of people that got some free dinners. Free dinners, Kirsten.
I got for you?
Yeah, that was free dinner. I remember that one.
Never do a dinner. Yeah. But a dinner is like a little bit more advanced of a
there's also something
interaction.
There's something to be said that's noteworthy for I'm a Taurus, and if you don't feed me, we won't have a relationship. So we should start with these basics. It's a basic thing of life with me. If you're dating me as a man, if you have any aspirations
that's
of
his
dating,
responsibility is to feed you.
yes.
The audition.
It's not an audition.
The audition.
God.
It's not an audition. And I didn't listen. Obviously, you cleared the audition. You still here today.
Yeah, well, you know.
I was like, I wasn't one of those auditions where it went nowhere. I'm like, you sitting right here, right now. You're here right now, and you woke.
So I don't want to make it sound like it's a bitter situation. I went on a lot of dates. I really drove into that thing and was like, I'm gonna find goodness in all of this.
Right.
And what I came out on the other end with was just like, this is a bunch of nonsense.
You didn't have any good dates besides me.
Well, I'm not even.
I've already qualified.
I'm not even gonna like throw shade. I don't even know if us going out was a good date. It was entertaining by like the second half of it, because the first half I was like, this is ridiculous. I remember even saying to you at the dinner table,
I was like, I think that was an overexplanation. You were
explaining
really hot and mad.
I was not hot and mad because you just said I'm chill.
You are chill, but I sensed the storm.
I remember specifically, like, we sat down and you told me all of the details of your day, your work, the people you work with, what's going on. And I was just like, can we talk about something else other than what you have to do?
I think I was trying to explain to you why I was late. That was probably
it was like 40 minutes.
Okay.
It was like
all right.
40 minutes.
So then,
fair. What would have been better?
What would have been more palatable conversation for you?
Well, I think you're supposed to have an interest in each other. What do you do? What do I do? What's going on with you? What's going on with, what are your interests? Besides what I read on a profile, because the profile.
Did we establish? I want to say that it's so funny because when I left the date, I knew. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna let you finish.
No. By the time I left the date, I knew what he sort of had in terms of a 5-year plan. I knew about his past life. I knew about our overlaps because we both went to NYU and did the same program. I knew that his family owned a vintage store. I knew where it was. I knew what his plan was. So I'm like, I walked away from that knowing quite a lot about you.
We both did.
In fact, I think we even established that thing. I was like, I think we'd be good friends.
Like I said, there was, I had to dissolve the Kirsten glimmer.
I think I
that
felt
was going
bad
on
about
for a
being
second.
late, so I was explaining to you where the heck I'd been.
Well, there was a lot of shiny going on right
we
when we
don't
met.
have to fight about it.
Well, we're not.
No.
Kirsten and I don't
Totally
fight. That's
but,
the funny
but,
thing.
but here's
This is not fighting.
But this is interesting. But
for me, dating is just a deeper conversation of meeting a new friend. So when you meet a friend, it's like you're going through common interests, you're figuring out and just bumping into somebody and finding out what you like about what they do and interesting stuff. The game of dating is like I said, it's like an audition. You sit across from somebody and they're like, all right, tell me about what you do, where you work, and what makes you interesting for me. Go.
yeah,
And it's like,
and that's part of the problem.
I have a cousin who goes around and tells everybody he's the fry cook at McDonald's. He wears.
I know
he wears,
somebody that does something
he
that
wears
too.
like, he's decked out in like the best clothes and the whole vibe and everything. You actually met him.
I met your cousin.
You guys.
I met your cousin at a funeral.
Yes, you guys are the same size. They did not get along. It was like,
No, I wasn't. We didn't get along. Your cousin was trying to holler at me at a funeral, so I was like, "Bro, we're at a funeral. We're crying."
I assure you weren't at a funeral after 2 weeks of knowing me. I assure you.
Okay,
But-
no. Let's do the calculation.
You all are
let's do the
funny.
calculation. I met you in March. It was the same year that we met. What month did your father pass?
Wow, that's deep. It's the expectation,
And they're the mother of disappointment.
Of all disappointment.
Limited
For some people are having a great time.
No.
The people that are having a great time, I think, are the ones
Or have
who
no
are
expectation.
explorers.
And they don't
They're
have the
explorers,
expectation.
And they're just like, all right, let's see what this is, and without pressure. And I think that's my thing.
Is the pressure
Oh,
thing.
it's especially when they're,
because I don't have time to talk to you on the phone if there's no real life energetic exchange.
Well, I don't think most women were giving out their telephone numbers. Everybody was using like screener numbers and everything.
I didn't know that. I just got a screener number like 2 weeks ago.
No,
I didn't know.
Google Voice.
There were no real phone numbers going on.
This guy was telling me I was shady because I had Google, but I was like, "Sean, I don't know you."
It's what you said, Karen. It's about energy, and I mean, it could be sexual. It could be
intellectual.
It could be intellectual.
Yeah.
It could be a lot of things. It should be a lot of things, and it's not many of those things right now. At least is what I've seen.
Right.
I've seen where you have to jump through so many hoops and like do your best tap dance just in conversation in chat to get somebody to show up, and it's like I don't want to small talk to death.
Right, but when you get it where you do and they ping you right back, and then you end up in a little thing, it's like, oh, okay.
It's like tennis.
It's like tennis,
yeah. That's right on the head.
But when you don't do that, when you don't catch that timing, then you kind of, it's like serve the ball and nothing back.
Right.
And then serve the ball the other way, nothing back.
And you're not friends, so it's not like you're going to hit them in like a couple of weeks and be like, hey, sorry, I was busy. It's just like, that's just dead. When you bump into somebody on the street and you meet them and there's a little spark.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Maybe it doesn't happen where you call each other or speak to each other that week or whatever. But the possibility of you bumping into them again because you were in similar places is high. How you go to work and you guys have sort of the same schedule. Maybe it's on an app, it is an abyss. You're not bumping into them anywhere unless
it's like concentration where you have all the cards face down,
to remember the
and
faces.
you're trying to match two cards, and you keep picking it up, not a match, and every once in a while it's like, oh, I got two, right? And then you have to figure out.
And you feel great about those two.
Yeah, and you for a minute until you explore more and then determine if it's a keeper or
52
not.
Dates later, it gets a little old.
You can't feel the energy now. If I'm really attracted to, when someone can express themselves, because to me that's an expression of their energy. So when they can utilize words, when they can describe things, and then if the voice is very important in terms of energetic signature.
Definitely.
That somebody, so if their voice and the words and the way they're able to express resonate with you, that's a good sign. I never meet anyone ever if I've never spoken to them.
Mm-hmm.
I need to hear the voice.
Well, I learned.
Because I met this one guy, I didn't meet him, connected with him, I think it was on Match, and it was like, oh, interesting, check. And I was like, oh, he's very intelligent, he's, decent looking, okay, we get on the phone, and the guy sounded like Elmer Fudd. And do you even know who that is? I'm sorry. Okay. So I was.
Can I get an invitation just so I know what Elmer Fudd sounds like?
No. You're not taking me there tonight. You're not going to get me like that. But it was just like it was.
Clarification.
It was. You don't know Elmer Fudd? Okay, we're going to do that on the break. Babies don't know Elmer Fudd.
Yes. Well, I didn't realize how important the voice was.
Oh my God.
Until I had some mishaps with voice.
It's the same for
men.
For men, I've had a lot of men say, "Oh yeah."
I had some wedding chicken left over. It was like creamy. It was like.
Are you talking about chicken they served at a wedding?
Correct.
Okay. I was like,
wedding. The Dominican restaurant. The Dominican called it. It was. Sometimes they have like wedding cake, wedding chicken. I don't.
Well, I know like Jamaicans today we have black cake. So
black cake.
Yeah, black Jamaican rum cake.
Everybody in the Caribbean got a roast.
Yeah, that's the wedding cake.
I had some black cake yesterday.
I had one of those. Yes.
Yeah, shout out to the Black Cake Company. My friend Kamari's mama makes some really good black cake.
Next
the Black
time
Cake
I come,
Company.
please have some.
Some black cake?
I know.
Please.
I feel like I need some now.
Okay, I'm gonna order some black cake. All right.
Okay.
Well, you're saying everything is available for order.
And we digress. So the tall privilege theory is guys over 6 foot are just used to being like, because women are always looking for somebody tall, supposedly.
What is the deal with like a 5-foot woman needing a 6-foot man and being like,
Someone
I will not?
Has to reach the high shelves in the house.
Anyway.
Most people 5'8" and up can reach the upper shelves.
I've got
I've
got 12-foot ceilings.
It's conditioning.
You don't have anything on 12
but
feet.
you're 5'2".
That's why I need a 6-foot tall man so they can reach the stuff on the high shelves.
All right.
Get a step ladder.
I broke it.
And I'm not saying that this is true for all men, so I'm qualifying that. But what I have noticed is a lot of the men that are taller, like 6 foot and over, it feels, when you find one that has really developed themselves in an interesting way, then they become a bit of a unicorn. But what I see a lot of is because they're tall, they didn't really have to work hard, because they conditioned in the program is you want tall, dark, and handsome, right?
So if you're tall, dark, and handsome, you're just lazy.
Well, if you're tall, I'm just saying, I think there's
I don't know if it's lazy, it's atrophy.
That's a great way of describing it.
But there's a sweet spot under 6 foot. I think those gentlemen develop the heck out of everything else I have.
It's true.
I find those men, on average, for me, way more interesting.
And I don't have a 6 foot tall height requirement because I am 5'2", so therefore I'm like, I date men who are generally 5'8" and up. Gotta ask 6 foot tall men what they want with 5'2" women.
Well, look,
sometimes it's 6'5" men. Fun size. I've been called fun size.
Fun size is fun size.
What does that mean?
I don't know how to explain it to you right now.
You just said it. Child, how you gonna call me fun size and not even be able to tell me what fun size means?
Look,
I don't know if I want to know.
Google it.
I want to know.
Google it.
We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna listen to more ah-mah. ah-mah, Iziian, Woke. That is the album that is out on the internet right now. What is your favorite song that we're gonna play next?
I would go with Gentleman.
Oh.
Considering what we're talking about.
Considering we were talking about the lost art of being a gentleman, we're going to play ah-mah, Gentleman from the Woke album. And we thank you so much for rocking with us here at 90.3 FM WH.E.R.
I'm just trying to be a champ.
Just grab water.
Y'all gonna get sorted out with these food things. We're gonna talk about that. I cook, so yes, I expect to be fed because I will feed your ass. And there is no man who's a friend of mine who I have dated who can't say I fed them. I fed you before.
How many years later?
It doesn't matter. You gotta have good taste in food. You gotta be willing to feed me. If you're not willing to feed me and fuck me properly, we're gonna have a problem.
The first
still
date?
Recording?
Huh?
You still recording?
That's edited out.
I just remembered when I walked past us.
You're like,
we're
we're
still
recording.
recording. You're gonna.